Zombies are one of D&D's many staple monsters that rest within the monster manual. Like werewolves, vampires, and, well, dragons, these things have been around long before Dungeons & Dragons existed and have become an official asset to the game. However, unlike werewolves, vampires, and dragons, zombies sort of, suck in D&D. They're not nearly as iconic as the others, or even most of what you can find in Dungeons & Dragons monster manuals. So, why is this? Everybody knows what zombies are. Everybody's probably picked up a zombie book, comic, movie, show, or something similar. Zombies are constantly being adapted to media, but when it comes to putting them in Dungeons and Dragons, it's pretty rare. Well, there's actually a reason to this. So in this video, I'm going to go over why that is, and show you how you can make zombies way more better and iconic for D&D, why zombie apocalypse campaigns are very rare, and how you can make one so much better than what they are in this episode of World Building with the Human Man. That's me. I am not a mind flayer in disguise. I am just a regular human man. A very new kind of D&D YouTuber-esque, per se. I make videos every single week on Dungeons & Dragons, giving you tips, tricks, and ideas. For this episode, we're diving deep into the undead. I feel like in the 2010s, there was a massive surge of zombie content, especially near the beginning. The Last of Us, The Walking Dead TV show, The Walking Dead video game, The Walking Dead comic book was at an all-time high, as well as a few other non-Walking Dead related things like zombie blockbusters here and there, Call of Duty Zombies, so on and so forth. It was like there was zombie stuff everywhere in media, and it was kind of awesome. I was a huge fan of The Walking Dead show as it was coming out, and one of the reasons I bought a PlayStation 4 was to try The Last of Us game. I love zombies, I still do. I'm actually reading the Walking Dead comic right now, and I'm obviously not alone in loving these undead creatures. These moaning death traps are very popular, which makes sense to why they would obviously be in Dungeons & Dragons. So let's open up the latest 2024 Monster Manual and see what it has to say about this monster. Humanoid zombies usually serve as guardians, servants, or soldiers for evil magic users. In rare cases, foul magic might result in widespread, reanimating the dead and unleashing hordes of zombies to terrorize the living. It's got a CR rating of just 1/4, which is basically the lowest we can go, which I guess makes sense because, you know, they're meant to be able to kill easily. And if you flip the page, if you flip the page, that's literally it. Now, as you can see, we have the zombie ogre here as well, which returns from the old monster manual. We also have the zombie beholder, but I will get back to these guys later in the video here. Anyways, the reason these guys have such low CR is due to just how weak they are. They have an AC of just 8 and an HP of just 15. They do have this undead fortitude trait though, meaning that they can survive a killing blow if they roll over a 5 plus the damage taken on a con save. Unless they're hit with radiant damage, of course, which is pretty crazy trait, honestly. It makes these guys very difficult to kill despite being so weak. But the only attack they have here is a slam attack of just a 1d8 plus 1. Yeah, no bite attack here, which is really weird since zombies tend to, you know, mostly bite things. But I guess Dungeons & Dragons zombies rather do something like this compared to something like this. Now, this is actually for two reasons. One is Dungeons & Dragons zombies are just, well, different from regular zombies. They aren't Walking Dead zombies. They're not Dawn of the Dead zombies. They're D&D zombies. They got their own thing that they can do. And two, in most zombie media, a bite means that you are infected. An infection means that you turn into a zombie. So having a fight against such a low CR monster where if the DM rolls slightly high enough and lands a hit, that can mean death later on due to the infection, which is a little bit too risky, especially if that single hit does little to no damage but still ends up killing a player hours later because of the infection. Now, I ain't no weak DM who refuses to kill a character. I've killed a few characters in my backlog of campaign moments, whether it's from the big bad evil bad guy or a few lucky rolls on a hill giant, which did happen once. I killed 2 players with 1 hill giant. They were level 3 to be fair, and that rock attack does a lot of damage. Anyways, a DM should never try to kill a party though. My hill giant was an accident in a way. I just got lucky on rolls and they got unlucky. Which is still fine because this is something that can happen in campaigns. If you're constantly dying to these little zombies though, that's not fun. Especially if everyone in the game is rolling not just for their second but their third character after just 10 sessions of an apocalyptic campaign. So with that said, we still have a problem though. These low CR monsters that slam at you and refuse to die sort of become repetitive and boring. They seem more annoying to encounter after a few times than interesting or scary. So to fix that, I highly recommend you actually do add in that bite attack, infection and all. Hell, most players will actually expect them to bite you. My very first time ever doing a zombie fight in a low-level party who had never played D&D before against a zombie, do you know what they did when they saw these creatures? They stood back. They started casting spells and using ranged weapons because they were afraid if they got too close, the zombie would bite them and affect them. Players expect a D&D zombie to act like a zombie that they already know. They're waiting for that bite and they are avoiding it. They're not realizing that these zombies' only plan is to sucker punch them or something like that. However you describe that slam attack. So let's add in that bite attack. Let's put it onto the zombie monster manual here. Doesn't have to be strong. It just needs to have something like, let's say, a 1d6 roll plus con. Upon getting bit, I'd have the player roll a con save, but it would be a high DC, like a 15. If they succeed on that, then okay, they're fine. But if they fail, they become infected. In 24 hours or less, they will turn into that zombie. I would have the player roll death saves every hour, and if they have 3 failures, they can say their final words before the infection takes over, and they become the undead. Even if they succeed those 3 death saves, I still have them roll. They have to keep rolling until they can find a way to stop this. So, how do you stop this? I've been bit in the arm, what do I do? In most zombie media, there tends to not actually be a cure, but this is Dungeons & Dragons, where spells like Remove Curse exist, or Greater Restoration, Lay on Hands. Basically, if you happen to be near a paladin or a cleric or most spellcasters in general, you should be able to get cured, which means you don't have to roll those saves anymore. You're safe until you maybe get bit again. Getting bit might not be truly scary until the entire party's been bit. Everyone's infected. The cleric and the paladin isn't around, or nobody has spell slots anymore. Nobody can cure you. From that point, it becomes a race to find someone who can cure you, an NPC wizard or cleric, or you have to risk amputating your arm or whatever area you're bitten before the infection spreads. So a zombie apocalypse has begun in your world. Maybe it started in one town, or maybe it's spread beyond what your players ever expected. They go to town, slashing zombies every chance they get. I make this a little bit easier by using, I'm gonna bring it up again, Walking Dead rules. A solid hit to the head kills the zombie instantly. That way, we're not rolling initiative every single time we see 1 or 2 zombies on the road, but we still keep those 1 or 2 around to show that the world is still infected. And you can even handle one of the scariest threats in the zombie world, a horde. Hundreds or maybe even thousands of zombies all grouped together walking aimlessly until they spot signs of life. You. This should be extremely threatening. If your players somehow get caught up in one of these, the focus should be to escape, not fight. You could use swarm stats, like the swarm of rats, to help determine how unfortunate combat might work, while adding your own twists and turns by adding in the zombie bite effect and, I guess the slam effect, if you like to still keep that. Oh, maybe add a grapple effect through the swarm so you can make it even more scary to escape as they're grabbing onto you. It's also worth noting that the noise can draw the dead over even more, making that horde bigger or maybe summoning a new horde over. If someone casts Fireball, that explosion could be heard from very, very far away, which can make every single zombie in that area that hears it start walking towards the sound. You should really emphasize how careful you have to be using these loud spells here. And as your party levels up, so can the dead. As time passes, your players will start to get bored of basic zombies. So remember, this is the world of Dungeons and Dragons. This is your world. You can amplify them. Throw in a zombie ogre from the 5th edition monster manual. Oh, hey man, welcome back. Or do your own spin by taking more monsters and adding a zombie word in front of it. A zombie werewolf could have the werewolf stats, but a bit more deadlier. Describe it as more deformed and evil looking, more undead, unless Michael Jackson's Thriller video or the extremely disappointing 2025 Wolfman movie. God. Sorry, I was very excited for this when it was announced, but man, that is so disappointing. Get creative with it. Bring in zombie beholders, bring in a zombie dragon, maybe even zombie slimes can exist somehow. Different types of oozes can have that undead effect somehow. But also remember, not everything has to be infected. Players can still encounter the regular slimes or regular phoenixes, regular dragons, so on. You don't have to make everything undead, because eventually your players will catch on to that and they'll focus on radiant enchanted weapons and spells and nothing else. Show mostly undead, but keep the diversity of the D&D monsters going, and well, keep them alive too, not everything dead. In the end, zombies aren't the only enemy, which actually brings me to my next point here. your main villain, the BBEG? Is it the Red Queen like the Scarlet Witch in Marvel Zombies, where the undead's entire existence revolves around her and they're all under her control? Defeat her and maybe you'll end up saving the world. Or are the zombies more of a distraction while the truth it revolves around, well, the people? Like in The Walking Dead. Maybe there are multiple groups of violent survivors who all work for one individual. You hear about them through these survivors, whether it's before, after, or during a fight, or through stealth roles that you've done as you're eavesdropping on a camp. But like Negan is in The Walking Dead, you never actually see the person until later on in the campaign. And when you do, they show you right away why you should fear them.
Pissing our pants yet?
The point here is, yes, show zombies, fight zombies, scatter the undead through your world, but don't make it all zombies, because that's kind of boring. But if you do show zombies very often, you can make it things a bit more interesting by showing that these mindless walkers maybe aren't so mindless. Smart zombies. There's a moment in the third episode in the intro to the Marvel Zombie show where the surviving Avengers are fighting a zombie Thanos. Spider-Man says during this fight,
Zombie Thanos was learning.
Zombie Thanos is getting smarter. During the fight, he was learning how to use his gauntlet and how to fight better. Maybe over time, your zombies can learn too. Not to the point where they can speak per se, but they start to develop and they start to evolve. I Am Legend does this very well. And I know, don't stop, actually keep commenting. But I get it. They aren't technically zombies in I Am Legend. They're more like vampires, I get it, but come on. They're zombies with extra flavor, which, hey, is kind of perfect for D&D. They start off fairly mindless, but later on they're setting traps and luring Will Smith and Will Smith's character in. Maybe all your zombies are the usual dumb roamers, but one or two stand out as being a bit more tactile and more dangerous. Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th franchise is basically just a big zombie. He doesn't speak, he's undead, and he just roams the earth and I guess beyond the earth too, killing anyone who comes across him, just like a zombie does. But Jason knows what he's doing. He knows when to hide, he knows when to attack, and he knows how to get around when he's hunting. He's smarter than a zombie, but he's not smart per se that he can actually communicate with you. He just knows what he's doing. I wouldn't call Jason smart, but he's definitely smarter than the undead. So what's the goal for a zombie campaign? This can be the perfect road trip setup. Getting a cure to a certain place, transporting cargo, medicine, notes, information, Ellie from The Last of Us, or some other important things. It's also the best excuse to leave what might have been a safe zone and travel across the map. Or maybe there is no cure. It's all about survival. But unlike real life and every zombie movie, survival is kind of easy in Dungeons & Dragons. A lot of zombie media has moments where the characters are scavenging for food before they starve to death, but in Dungeons & Dragons, you can just cast great food and water, and you're good. So I wouldn't focus on those kind of aspects of survival. I would instead focus on things like not getting bit and finding more paladins and clerics. Without a real cure to save the world, you can just accept the zombies are among us, and they're here to stay and feed off the living. From that point, the survival story becomes a story of the community, building walls around cities, restarting life, and learning to trust the strangers that still breathe. So you're fighting off a zombie queen, you're hunting down necromancers that started all this mess, you're carrying the cure across a land, or simply accepting the New World Order. I hope you find some enjoyment in a zombie-style campaign. Honestly, these stories can be unlimited. It's the world itself that makes it unique, not just the undead that walks it. Zombies may not be Dungeons & Dragons' most threatening monster, but with a little bit of creativity, they can easily become a very memorable one. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out some of my other guides on world building, travel, and props for your Dungeons & Dragons game. This is the second episode of World Building with a Human Man series, and I'm very excited to make more. If you want to see episode 1, you can check it out here. It's all on building landmarks through your not-so-undead world. I'll see you guys in the next video where we continue with the spooky ideas for this spooky season. And remember, when the dead start walking, it's time for your players to start running.
Weird.